something that I'm really passionate about. If we are going to intervene early on in terms of children's emotional well-being, then we have the opportunity to prevent mental health difficulties later on. The earlier we intervene, the better the prognosis, and this is the same for any condition, particularly with emotional health difficulties and mental health difficulties. And I'm hoping to work very closely with the SHINE project so that we can reach out into schools. I often find that when children spend around 7-8 hours of their day in the school setting, the more teachers have an understanding of how to support and manage children, the better it is. So it's trying to look at psychological first aid. How can that be provided in the school setting? We often have little ones in the primary school age where they are named, they are labeled to be difficult or naughty. And again, I find those terms really difficult to understand, let alone accept. So it's trying to understand what the issues are, exploring issues when they are younger, trying to understand if there are any developmental concerns. Quite often children get brought saying there is a problem with the child, and what is so enjoyable about child psychiatry is that we have the opportunity, I don't know whether I can call it a luxury, of looking at systems around the child. So when we look at what is happening around the child from a point of view of family systems, education, societal aspects, we have an opportunity to think about the well-being of the child as a whole in the context of what is going on around them. And this is something that I'm really passionate about, which Dr. Accharam mentioned in his talk. It's about taking care into the community rather than thinking about children coming in to hospital for treatment. How can we make sure that community-based care is also helped? And on a wider scale, how can we provide training on a wider scale so that people feel empowered, and stigma around mental health and stigma around emotional well-being is, it's a biased opinion, but I feel the more we get rid of it, the more easily people can access help. This is a vision, and I'm hoping that when we develop the team further and the department further, we'll have a whole multidisciplinary project where we can think about occupational therapists, social workers, physiotherapists who will be working very closely together as part of the team in order to think about the well-being of children who come into the hospital, but also reaching out. And we know that long-term conditions are associated with significant emotional burden, and I'm not entirely sure that we explore that to the extent that it can benefit children and families. Quite often children as well as families tend to suffer in silence, and I'm hoping that we can together help change that. And it's trying to look at how we can do that in a thoughtful, meaningful way. And we are also thinking about teaching and training for our staff within the hospital as well, so they feel empowered. And we've been talking about compassionate leadership, what that means, and how we can have a culture which is reflective and thoughtful towards each other as we are hoping to be to children and families. Sorry, I do have a habit of rambling on. I'll stop there for now. And there's a short video that our amazing consultants and a few of my colleagues and very close friends from Cambridge have also sent, and our amazing consultants within the hospital have also spoken. I'm hoping that that can convey a message which probably it'll take me a long time to get across. Thank you so much for the opportunity. We are really excited to be launching APPLE, which is Apollo Paediatric Psychiatry Liaison and Education. And this is something which we are thinking about in terms of benefiting children and families as well as staff working in hospital. And we are also thinking about supporting other hospitals which might need some support or guidance in this regard. In terms of the clinical aspects, we are like ASD, ADHD, intellectual disability, and challenging behaviors that are associated with it, sleep-related issues that are associated with it, cognitive issues that are associated with it. We try and think about the child as a whole, not just focusing on the medical aspects, but thinking about the psychological, social, as well as the academic aspects, and thinking about how we manage them. The other element is chronic conditions like children with epilepsy, with related psychological aspects as well as behavioral difficulties, and it's trying to think about how we can assess and intervene quite early in order to make sure that the future of the child is better. We are also thinking about various other long-term conditions like endocrine-related aspects like diabetes, where children who are diagnosed early on may have cognitive as well as psychological difficulties as they grow older. From a prevention perspective, we are also hoping to reach out as part of Apollo Shine project, working very closely with that team, reaching out to schools to identify the needs of children early on.
I'm very glad that Apollo Children's Hospital is launching the APPLE program to give the much needed psychological first aid for so many students as well as children with chronic ailments.
I feel that this is a very good initiative to have a psychiatrist on site who gives us a liaison. A lot of my adolescent patients have quite a lot of psychological issues related to their neurological conditions, like epilepsy patients have psychological issues. Also, I do get non-epileptic seizure patients as well who require psychological support, psychiatric support. I get a lot of patients with neurodegenerative disorders and other neurological issues where the parents will often require some degree of psychiatric support or psychological support. So on the whole, for neurology, this is a very good venture, and I really welcome this venture for a holistic approach and treatment for my patients.
There are only two dimensions: the patient with his ailments, the doctor with the treatment tools. Well, there is a third dimension, namely the mental health, which is not that much taken note of by the treating doctors because of hustle and bustle of the day. And this particular dimension, how nice it is if we have a psychiatrist who is making rounds with us and who just looks into the very passionately the third dimension, that is what the mental health, simply by observing. With the availability of this specialty, I think it will be a wonderful experience for both the patients and also the treating doctors to get a mutual satisfaction, a reciprocity of positive feelings, and also it will go a long way in increasing the level of satisfaction for both.
We now invite our chief guest, Ms. Priyanka Pankajam, Ms. Gauri Kishan, Ms. Sunita Reddy and Ms. Preeta Reddy to inaugurate the placard for the APPLE project.
doctors, literally school children from the Assam Memorial School. I don't know how many of you are here, but you again are the future of tomorrow. And I think what we're doing is we're celebrating India of the future with all the wonderful youngsters here, and on Children's Day, what better can we do? In fact, we were discussing that sometimes we seem to forget Jawaharlal Nehru, who actually started off. And he had this love, passion to really focus on the next generation, on children. And in our day-to-day lives, we sometimes forget the fact that literally the country's progress, economic future, health, wealth, everything depends on our investment into our youth, our children. Whatever we do, every little step which we do has to be in the direction of nurturing them. It's like growing a plant, it's like growing a tree. You know, if you take care of the seedling, then you get a beautiful tree, and I think that is really what the intent is. To focus, you know, why did we choose Children's Day to focus on mental health in a way? Why did we set up psychiatry, not just a department of psychiatry which is done, but a psychiatry liaison department? Because we always know that little bit, you know, when a child is unwell, when a child is having some kind of a medical issue, it's always good to look at the mental aspect of it. And instead of, you know, intervening, because there is a stigma, it is a bit hard to say somebody needs a psychiatrist. But if we can have someone who will handhold the child and the family and take them through the journey of, you know, of ill health, take them to a space where they're confident, where they know they'll get well, and they really want to work with the families and the doctors to get well, I think it's something we have to do. It's a commitment from, you know, Apollo Hospitals, from a leadership perspective. And I'm so glad, and I love the fact that we called it Apple, because literally speaking, an apple a day keeps the doctors away. So if we get the psychiatric, the mental aspect of it, maybe they won't need so many interventions into the hospitals. Maybe things won't get so serious. So with all this in mind, I'm so happy and excited about the launch of Apple. I'm really thankful to the team here for making our young children come in doctors' courts and give them a chance for the future. I have to share a personal story, you know, from the time I was 8 or 9 years old, I used to wear a steth and a doctor's coat and go around saying I'm Dr. Preeta, because I really wanted to be a doctor. It's probably one of the noblest professions ever. So if all the youngsters in the country can be motivated to be doctors, I think the institution would have done a great thing. So I'm happy for that. And for all our chief guests and guests of honor, thank you for taking time out to participate. You truly will inspire the next generation. And of course, my sister Sunita, a colleague who holds the Apollo torch burning brightly, she really pushes them for better performance and deep focus into, you know, how the clinical work is done, how the outcomes are done. So I think this is another step in the right direction. So I'm really happy to be here. And the child in me wants to celebrate be a child for a few minutes. So happy Children's Day, and may the children of our country bloom and blossom. Thank you.
Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said, I quote, "Look at the sky, we are not alone. The whole universe is friendly to us and conspires only to give the best to those who dream and work." We at AppolloChildrens Hospitals are honored and privileged to be taking the initiative and keep the process going in the future for felicitating the schools and children who are making a difference to the society by having a great aim, acquiring knowledge, hard work, and perseverance, and making dreams come true, help building a strong nation, the future. We have Miss Kandal Manikandan, a 12th standard kid at Church Park, Chennai, who is very versatile, bright, brilliant, intelligent, talented, hardworking, responsible, and a refined girl, who is an avid reader, writer, and whose literary and oratorical skills are highly remarkable. She is a head girl of the school who has great leadership qualities and a wonderful team spirit. Her mother, Dr. Yamini, is also an alumni of this school as a renowned and also is a renowned child psychologist. I hereby call upon Ms. Kandal Manikandan and Sister Prabha, Principal of Church Park School, to be felicitated. I invite upon Ms. Sunita Reddy to do the honors. Aditi Vinod Kumar is a class 6B student in Asan Memorial who is a karate champion and has many medals and has won many medals and prizes. He has almost 43 medals plus going to his name with 26 gold, 6 silver and 11 bronze. We call Miss Aditi over to the stage along with Mrs. Jyoti Menon, Principal Asan Memorial. We invite Ms. Priyanka Pangajam to do the honors. Miss Soumya K.A. is a student of class 12B, a great academician, and what makes her distinct is that she is an artist, a great leader, and amazing human being. We invite upon Miss Soumya along with Miss Leena Wesley, a principal of Vidyodaya Matriculation Higher Secondary School, to come over to this stage. I invite upon Miss Gauri Kishan to do the honors. Among us was a head boy, President of Debating Society, Model UN Society, Parliament at SBOA JC, Ashoka Young Champion and Change Maker, Founder and CEO at Finance for Future, at Harvard University funded organization, co-founder and ex-MD at Debate Guild. He is selected in the top 27 of the Indian National Debating Team. He is from SBOA and we call upon him over to the stage along with Mr. K. Manoharan, Principal. I now invite upon stage Dr. Sri Lakshmi to do the honors. Child initiative. It's with great pride, delight and honor I would like to invite Ms. Sunita Reddy over to the stage to hand over the award to Ms. Niranjani, General Manager at Apollo Children's Hospitals, and Dr. Shobna, Medical Superintendent, Apollo Children's Hospitals. A thunderous applause. Request Ms. Sunita Reddy to stay back in the dais and address our August gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know, it's such a special pleasure to be here amongst you. Priyanka, our beautiful movie star Gauri, and our chess champion, Master Ilam Paruthi, and of course, Dr. Sri Lakshmi. What a wonderful world we live in. You know, 2 years ago, the only interaction our children had was through the screen. You know, when they were learning from their computer, their interface was only their parents. And look at us today. You know, 3 years later, we have so much to be grateful for. And today is my day of gratitude. And as I said my prayers this morning, I said, you know, I'm going to go and see these, speak to the children, speak to the doctors at Children's Hospital. And for me, it always holds a special place in our heart, because they are our future. They are the reason why we're all here today. And I'm truly grateful to each one of you. Our wonderful doctors, I can't name all of you, but I truly appreciate, deeply appreciate the work you do, our management, and all of you for bringing it together to make this hospital ranked 112 in the Newsweek International Edition. That really speaks volumes. It means that we are the best in India. So congratulations. I'm very proud to be part of this team. Of course, to Malti and the Shine team, you know, they have 100,000 children which they look after, and I think it's 100,000 opportunities to do something more. Dr. Sri Lakshmi spoke about contributing to the society and the community, and I know that she's going to do a wonderful job with Apple. I'm not going to speak on Apple because I think you've heard everything, and you have Dr. Sri Lakshmi here, but really, you know, we have 100,000 reasons to do so much more to society in Chennai. But why should we be restricted for Chennai? What I want this to become is a crucible of development of what we can do for children in India. We have 440 million reasons why this should succeed and why we should scale this program. So I request members of the press to really give it that focus, because there is so much we can do. I mean, we can change the lives of children. We can do it through telemedicine, we can do it through computers, we can do it physically, but we must do it. We must always remember that, that we are the ancestors to our children, and we actually borrow from their future. You know, all of you would have heard of Greta Thunberg and Malhalia, and they've won Nobel Prizes. 2 children winning Nobel Prizes for peace and working for the environment. If 2 children can do that here, this organization represents so much more, and we can have a greater impact. So that's what I wish for you today. Have that great impact. Think beyond the walls of Apollo Children's Hospitals, because nowhere else can you have this opportunity to do so much more for the future. We remember always that we are borrowing from the children's future, and therefore we have a duty to do so much more. I know we think we do it out of kindness. No, but it is a responsibility. It comes from the heart. Yes, you have to be kind, but this is the responsibility that we hold. So let me end with my favorite song, We Are the World, and I've actually written it down together. But you know that one line, we are the world, we are the children who make a better. And there is so much we can do. There is to improve the life, the health of our children and of the world around us. So let us all give this commitment today, because that's what we owe the future. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste.
Thank you, ma'am. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way and shows the way. Leaders instill in their people a hope for success and a belief in themselves. Positive leaders empower people to accomplish their goals. We are blessed to have leaders who lead us to be the best versions of ourselves. We now invite upon stage Miss B. Priyanka Pankajam, IAS Executive Director, Tamil Nadu Corporation for Development of Women, to address this gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
A very warm good morning to everybody present here. It's indeed my privilege to be here and to address this August gathering. Thanks for this opportunity, Ms. Sunita Reddy and Ms. Preeta Reddy in absentia, and to the Apollo management for this opportunity. Indeed, when I was invited here, I wasn't given the topic as to why I am being called. But today, after attending this event, I really think what we are addressing here is a very important topic. As we deal with 50 lakh self-help groups across the state, I really think the moment we start addressing the mental health and the mental well-being of children, they are the people who are going to form the future of Tamil Nadu tomorrow and the future of the country later, right? So it is not just about the disorders, the AH, attention, hyper, ADHD, ASD, and a lot of disorders that people were talking about. It is also about achieving the emotional and development milestones that every child has to achieve. It is also about a holistic growth that the family and the society that it will achieve, because the child has grown to be a very holistic human being. I think this as an initiative is a wonderful step and a welcome step, and something that one should have started much earlier. I'm really glad that we've started it now. And in fact, when I was talking to the National Health Mission Director of Tamil Nadu, they were in fact thinking about something very similar, because a lot of kids got addicted to the internet and the mobiles during the COVID breakdown. Right? So what is that the government is going to do because of that? And how is that we're going to wean people away from this addiction and bring them back to the right track of education and moral values that one needs to have to develop in the society? So I really think this is a wonderful initiative. I wish the Apollo management a great success in this initiative. And like Madam rightly said, this is an initiative that should grow beyond Tamil Nadu, across the country and beyond the borders of the country. Thank you so much.
We now invite upon the young talent of the country, Ms. Gauri Kishan, to address the gathering.
A very warm welcome to everybody present here. I'm extremely honored to have been invited to the launch of Apple. Being a psychology student myself, yes, I was a student in Christ University, and psychology was one of my majors. And considering the fact that I started off my career extremely young, I was a child actor once I started, and I'm still transitioning. I strongly believe that the formative years as children that we go through, I am blessed with an amazing family. My father is here with me, and I have been extremely grounded through my childhood and the growing up phase, which is extremely crucial to who you become today. Having said all that, the stigma around mental health is extremely high. Being somebody who studied over the age of social media, internet, all of these added pressure that as children we all face. During the pandemic, as ma'am rightly said, there was a need to have a detox from social media, or have, like, the pressures were so high that people would fear to even accept the fact that they are going through a difficult time in terms of emotional well-being. It is a disturbing fact, that is sure, but we must come to terms with the fact that help is around the corner. And even in social media these days, there's a there's a very healthy talk about how it's okay to reach out, and I have personally been a part of many psychologists and the talks with them to just say it's okay, because being in my early 20s myself and having transitioned to something very new, and I'm in a very competitive field, there is competition in every arena that we go in, and saying that it's fine and getting help, like Dr. Sri Lakshmi rightly said, that the pressures as children we face, sometimes home is also not a safe space. Schools, like she rightly said, 7 to 8 hours every day, bullying, pressures, and being academics. There are so many challenging aspects that as children we all face. So the launch of Apple has been an extremely pleasing one, and I wish to see it grow, not just in Chennai, over Tamil Nadu, over the country, and Apollo, considering to be the most esteemed institutions over the world, it is not a surprise that we have, come with the idea of something so innovative and groundbreaking like Apollo, and we should always support and encourage and destigmatize the fact that, like a physical illness, you have a headache, you have a fever, you go to the doctor, and it is exactly the same, if not more sensitive, when somebody is telling you that, okay, this is giving me anxiety, this is stressing me out. So that's where it starts, but it can lead to something big. So like Dr. Sri Lakshmi said, prevention is around the corner, and we should definitely do that. And it is also, I did not know the details about Apple, but now having heard everybody speak on the dais, hopefully I have become sensitive, and it's easy to talk about these terms and label everything around. But it is very coincidentally that today morning I was listening to a TED talk which talks about how to identify if somebody has ADHD. So when you talk about ADHD, ASD and these mental disorders, people think that you're very different or you're very quirky and you're eccentric and all these things. But in fact, even the smallest of thoughts that you have may be a sign that it's the cause of ADHD is anxiety, and anxiety can occur from even the smallest stress factors. So that's about it. I think rather than overcomplicating anything or saying that getting psychological help or visiting a psychiatrist is considered to be such a taboo, I hope that this platform, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about it, because being a young person myself, I vocalize on this everywhere, every platform I go to, and hopefully this becomes the norm in today's society. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Gratitude is a powerful catalyst for happiness. It is a spark that lights a fire of joy in your soul. I hereby call upon Ms. Niranjani, General Manager, Apollo Children's Hospitals, to deliver a vote of thanks.
Namaste everyone. It gives me a great pleasure to host to all the dignitaries and all our people over here for coming over and celebrating Apollo Children's Hospital Apollo Children's Day. I would say more than International Children's Day celebration. I would like to thank media members, VC ma'am, Preeta ma'am, MD ma'am, Ms. Sangeeta ma'am, Ms. Priyanka ma'am, and of course Gauri Krishna ma'am. And then I would like to even also thank Master Ilam Paradi for coming over here. Least but not the last, or last but not the least, I would say, is Apollo Shine, who has been continuously supporting us throughout our journey. I request the media member to share the important message of Apollo Apple, which has been launched today, and so that it can be benefited by all the society people who are in need. I thank you once again. Thank you one and all.